Hey, y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders Midweek.
I'm Heather.
And I'm unemployed.
All right. Hi, unemployed. How's it going?
Well, it's easy.
You little broke ass bitch.
I retire. I don't know why more people aren't doing this. Just retire, folks. Just retire. Some people call it like losing your job and being fired or laid off. I call it retirement.
Here's my thing, Dylan. My concern. I've started working.
Yeah.
And now you just sleep all day.
That's not true.
I come home. Nothing is done in the
Whoa.
house.
No, this is bullshit.
This a whole week. You have so much laundry piled up. And I've asked you multiple times, hey, why don't you fold your clothes?
Mm-hmm.
And they're still piled up.
Yeah, I know. Do you know how hard
You've not done a damn thing this week.
You know how
and
hard?
I've worked my ass off. And if this is life as we know it, then you need to get out.
You know how hard it is being a house husband? I mean, do you really know? I
because
deal
I've
with
been
the
a
kids.
housewife, and and every day you come home to a clean house.
I deal with the dogs.
Groceries stocked up, dinner ready. I've come home to none of those things this week. You're a terrible house husband.
Well, you're misconstruing anything that's real right now because there is a spread in there on the counter.
That I made.
Well, I helped to get it back out of the refrigerator.
I made all of that food. Now, my daughter graduated on Thursday.
Yeah,
so
whatever.
Congratulations
Nobody cares about
to
that.
Bella Sophia. I care.
Yeah, congrats, Bella, when you're moving out.
Yeah, so I just spend all day making all the food so Dylan can just eat it and then dirty dishes and then just leave them in the sink for me.
Well, the best thing I could see about all that food that we made,
What did you make?
that it's lasted 3 days, and I haven't had to make other food.
The only thing that you did was throw a couple hot dogs on the grill, Dawn.
That's 8 minutes of very important work.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the other 18 hours of work is on the kitchen counter.
Well, I'm just saying you'll know one day how hard it is, and I'm adjusting, and I keep a good house.
No, he does not. He's being lazy. Just lazing about,
Yeah, well,
pretending you are a great house husband.
here's what's happening. I'm processing everything that's happened to me, and it's going to take at least through the end of the weekend for it to all fully sink in.
Well, you better get it together
Okay.
because I ain't doing everything.
Come Monday, I'm back, baby.
Because you're still expecting me to be your housewife and your employed wife
That's not true.
and your podcast wife.
I tell you to go sit down when you get home. I tell you to go sit down and stop. I didn't bother with that all day. You shouldn't either.
I know. We can't live like this, Dylan.
Yeah, whatever. I'll clean up
Okay?
later.
Your laundry is tearing this family
I'm
apart.
not worried about that damn laundry. You know, best thing, I know where the clean clothes is.
Yeah, in a pile.
In a pile.
And then you'll be asking me where are my socks.
They're all in one spot. I know where it's all at right now. Every
Yeah,
bit of it.
That's the other part, is asking me constantly where your things are. Like, probably on that big fucking pile that you hadn't looked through.
I'm setting my own system up. It'll take a while because it's a culture change here in the
Yeah,
household.
well, it'll take a while, meaning, yeah, it'll take Dylan 6 months to do a damn thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
But here we are. We're back, baby. We miss our listeners.
Well, we had to give them that intro so they know we're fully back.
We missed them. We missed our listeners so bad.
Dylan didn't. He talked shit about all y'all.
That is not. I wasn't
He
like,
was
man,
like-
our listeners are some shit.
He was. He's
No,
like,
I was not.
He's like, fuck them listeners.
No, I was like, I wonder what they're doing right now.
Well,
I wonder what they're
Dylan,
wearing.
We've gotten some really awesome emails, and I'd just like to give a shout out to Tammy. She sent us an email titled, "Y'all are awesome."
Well, let me read the rest.
She's from Hiram, Georgia, and she's been listening to the podcast for about a month, and she's already caught up to our 2021 episodes.
Damn, girl's ripping through it.
She is. She says she loves everything about it, and that you can say, "Oh my God," as much as you want.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was during I think a period of I didn't have anything else to say.
So we appreciate your email, Tammy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy.
And Tanya emailed us to say she listened to the Fisher Family Tragedies. She's from Maine, and she was giggling at the way I said Bowdenham.
Every name,
Bowdenham.
every town name in Maine.
And her grandmother's name was Sirwa, which I was obviously not pronouncing correctly.
You leave that poor woman alone. For real, quit saying her name. Damn.
Oh, well, thank you, Tanya. And I knew somebody was going to let us know, you guys aren't saying this.
Thank you,
correctly.
Tanya, and I apologize to your ancestors. I'm sorry.
We also had Susan from the Waterville area
What?
email and say she went to school in the town next to Bodenham. She actually went to one of the Sacred Heart schools and Mount Merici, the Catholic school where the Fisher children and Constance Fisher attended.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we've gotten a couple of really interesting emails from folks lately. And then we also had someone who responded to your nun question.
Are nuns really scary?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, Dylan, they are. That's why Rufus is barking right now.
Oh, there's a nun at the door. Oh.
Karen said one day she had to drive to a meeting and one of the sisters was like, "Oh, you can ride with me." Karen got in the car with this nun. And little did she know that the sister was a speed demon, and later found out that everyone called her the Flying Nun.
Oh my
because
God.
she would go about 60 plus miles per hour down a 35 mile per hour mountain road.
Damn. Well, she's got God on her side, bro. She don't even give a damn, for real. She knows she's good.
Now, she did have a creepy story for you, Dylan.
Okay.
Okay. It says, and I'm going to quote this. "Oh, one creepy story from a death visit with Sister Mary. She was praying over a man as he was dying. He started screaming, 'No.' We looked at each other like, what?" Because Karen's a hospice nurse, by the way. So she was working with the, clergy, the chaplain, all that
Okay.
during this time. So they both look at each other like, what's going on? The man then goes on to describe dark demons and shadows coming for him, people screaming. Sister Mary continued praying over him until he passed. Finally, he calmed down and was more peaceful at the end. His wife told us after he passed that he wasn't a very good person when he was younger, but she didn't elaborate. But it scared the bejeebers out of me.
Damn, son. It's
That
like
is-
some old Constantine stuff,
That
bro.
is scary.
They're coming for you.
That's very scary.
Man, I hope a dumb shit I did in the past don't come for me.
I think it comes for you every day.
I don't think so. I'm a good guy now.
Oh, no, I hear you in the bathroom screaming a lot, so it makes me wonder what
Well,
demon you're exorcising from your body.
That's not demons, baby.
Hey, our friend Tori over in Arkansas wanted to let you know, Dylan, that you make her smile daily.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, we've gotten
Hey, girl.
so many awesome, sweet emails from folks. And you can send us an email too at mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. Dylan, are you ready to get into some of the true crime news making headlines this week?
I have somebody I got to thank right quick.
What you got to do?
I would like to thank one of our
Oh,
friends,
yes.
Angie.
Friend of the pod, Angie.
From our Discord fam and friend of the pod.
Patreon subscriber, supporter of the show.
She's just like, if you build the perfect listener, it looks like Angie. No, I'm just kidding. No, she sent us just an incredible. We were actually about to strike out on the road to go get my stepson from Michigan. And Heather's like, hey, here's a box. And she's like, oh, it's from Angie. And I was like, oh, yeah. She said she was going to send something. So we actually opened this on the road. And I've got to say, we were blown away.
She made us these 2 Mountain Murders tumblers.
Yes.
They are so fucking cool. They have all of our little catchphrases.
Sitting and looking,
Sitting and looking.
throwing hams.
Say fuck a lot.
We say fuck a
A
lot.
lot of our little inside jokes. And we've got our logo on there. They're really cool. Dude, I started a new job and I took my cup to work and it kept my water cold the entire shift.
Wait, hold on. Not only are they incredible looking, they're also incredibly functioning.
Look, I loaded it up with some ice water and the end of my shift, I still had ice in the tumbler.
You was supping
like
on it.
8 hours later.
Damn, girl.
I was sucking down the water, I'm telling you.
So these are high quality. They're just
They're
beautiful.
so awesome.
And it really hit us right in our little
So
hearts.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Angie.
Are you ready for some true crime news, Dylan?
Lay it on me.
We haven't discussed in a couple of weeks, so there's a lot going on. First, I'd like to begin by talking about the arrest of a man wanted in the 1984 killing of a Florida woman. He was arrested in California nearly 4 decades later.
You gotta love that.
Detectives from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office traveled to San Diego County to interview Donald Michael Santini, who was being held following an arrest on Wednesday. Santini has been on the run since June of 1984 when Florida authorities obtained an arrest warrant linking him to the strangling death of 33-year-old Cynthia Wood of Bradenton, which is located just south of Tampa. Wood's body was found in a watery ditch 3 days after she went missing on June 6th of that year. The arrest warrant said a medical examiner determined she had been strangled, and Santini's fingerprints were found on the victim's body. This is good news, Dylan.
Wow, so it's not like other evidence or some cold case detective cracked it wide open or Familia DNA all of a sudden gave them a clue. They knew back then who their man was. He's just literally been on the run for decades.
Yeah, so they were allowed to re-examine some of the evidence collected back in 1984 and use the more modern technology of today. So they considered this case open once again. They have sent detectives to interview Santini. They are awaiting extradition. They're going to get him back to Florida. The 65-year-old Santini was arrested as a fugitive. So he's been living life on the run for 40 years.
Damn, bro. I bet people's like, oh, that explains why he acted so weird.
Wouldn't that just be wild to meet someone, maybe have a relationship with them, whether it's they're a coworker, a neighbor,
Anything.
a regular customer at your store, something like that, and then you find out they've been a fugitive all these years and they're wanted for murder? Like, how wild would that be? It's a little scary.
Yeah, it's scary. That would be, it would just throw me for a loop, you know? And something like strangling is kind of brutal, in my opinion. I think strangling is very brutal because it takes a long time. You're literally face to face, close and personal. Yeah. So he's finally going to pay.
Let's hope so.
I hope his old ass, if he did do the crime, I hope his old ass dies in jail. Fuck him.
Probably will.
Boom.
You know, I like getting the good news about these cold cases that are being solved using DNA, technology, the fact that we have like CODIS and those databases. I just am not sure how this dude lived on the run for 40 years. I mean, you'd have to either conceal your identity or work under the table.
Now, either he had access to good forged documents, or he just knew what to do. He stayed off the grid, took cash jobs, kind of lived around the edges of society, didn't get too close with people, didn't ever talk about himself or his history. I mean, it can be done, but it seems like it'd be harder and harder to do, like you're pointing out, in this day and age, right?
Well, absolutely. It seems like in 2023, there's really no way to escape your identity.
I've tried to escape mine before, and they just keep finding me and giving it back to me.
Yeah, they find you with your trails of unfolded laundry. Okay, Dylan, here's some
Okay.
more good news. A John Doe has been identified nearly 4 decades after his skeletal remains were found along an abandoned trail in Tennessee.
Damn.
The statement is dated June 7th. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation announced that genealogical DNA testing has confirmed the identity of a man previously known as a John Doe. He is Jerry Harrison of Little Rock, Arkansas, who last contacted his family back in 1982 when he was 25 years old. He began traveling like across the country and then just sort of vanished. On August 24th of 1986, Harrison's skeletal remains were discovered by hunters along an isolated trail in the Caney Valley area of Claiborne County. At the time, investigators were unable to determine his identity. They knew he was a white male, and they suspected he was between the ages of 30 to 40.
Right, and that's all going to come from someone examining the bones, right?
Now, authorities determined this man had been shot, and his death was ruled a homicide. Forensic anthropologists revealed the man had been dead for 6 months to a year prior to the discovery of his remains. Now, at the time, they exhausted all leads, but investigators could not determine the victim's identity, and therefore he was classified as a John Doe. But then in September of 2015, the University of Tennessee's Forensic Anthropology Center submitted a sample of the man's remains to the University of North Texas Center for Human Identification for the DNA testing in an effort to identify him. His DNA profile was entered into CODIS, which we just mentioned, Dylan, and the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. So nearly 7 years later, in December of 2022, investigators were finally able to identify some possible relatives connected to the victim. Then they submitted a sample of the man's remains to a private lab for more testing. And from there, they were able to make contact with 2 of the individuals, and they confirmed they did, in fact, have a brother they had not heard from in over 4 decades.
Oh, my God. Could you
Wow.
imagine getting that phone call 40 years later plus? That's wild.
No, I mean, it's good news for the family. They finally have some answers.
Yeah.
And now agents with the TBI are asking for the public's help in providing information that may help find Harrison's killer and crack this cold case once and for all.
Wow. Fortunately, he had some siblings and family that were still alive, still around to receive that good news and that peace of mind. And I hope I hope it keeps going and it leads to the person that killed him. Because I'm sure it was probably over some dumb shit, you know?
Now, Dylan, do you remember last year was a huge crime story? We discussed it a couple of times on the podcast. The Alabama inmate named Casey White who escaped with a jailer's help and they went on the run.
Yeah.
Well, he's been given a life sentence. Casey Wyatt escaped jail last year with the helps of a correctional officer. And if you remember, her name was Vicky White, and they were not related, though they shared the same last name. They ran off together, and then she died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound as police were closing in on them.
Whoa, wait a minute. I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
Wow.
She shot herself because she did not want to be, as she quote said, dragged through the dirt.
So basically, she didn't want to deal with the consequences that her actions had caused.
Yes, because they were involved in a romantic relationship, which led to the aided escape and then an 11-day manhunt that ended in a car chase in Evansville, Indiana. She was driving a Cadillac, which she crashed while she was trying to evade authorities. Casey has told investigators like he was not the one that fired the bullet that killed her, that they wanted a new life together, all of this. But he was arrested and is now serving a life sentence.
Wow.
Yeah.
He got an
he's been
upgrade to a
rearrested.
life sentence.
Yeah. Now, he was already facing counts of capital murder for killing a 59-year-old woman named Connie Ridgway. That happened actually in October of 2015. He was arrested 5 years later and was awaiting trial. So he's been given a life sentence.
Oh, okay.
And of course, the escape added some time, I think, to that.
Well, yeah. And unfortunately, that jailer got drug into his world. And she went down a path that she obviously wasn't ready to deal with. And I think she was way out over her head and outside of her normal comfort zone. And it's unfortunate that she got tied up with this guy.
You know, this is not the first time we've heard of these jailers having romantic relationships with inmates and been helping them escape. We covered a case.
I thought that was the case you were
few
talking
years
about
ago.
at first.
It was the casino killings that took place in Cherokee, North Carolina.
Right.
After one of the suspects was arrested, he fell in love with a jailer. He fell in love with a jailer, and she rocks and she rolls and she unlocks the door and she lets him out. You like my song?
'Cause he's in love
And then
with a jailer.
and then they done run off to California.
She done run
And then
off
she
to
called her
California.
daddy, and her daddy told, and then they found him, and it's just chaos.
Could you ever fall in love with an inmate?
Who knows where love blooms, Dylan?
It's true. It's much like
It's just like this unstoppable force. You're a prime example.
it's much like a dandelion.
Like you can't control it.
And
Because I met you and fell in love with you, and like all the fiber of my being is like run, but I couldn't.
Oh,
and
that's
now,
sweet.
And now I'm with you.
That's sweet because
Yeah.
I had you handcuffed to the door handle
Well,
of the
there's-
truck.
Well, yeah, I couldn't escape the trunk of your car, but look at us now.
She's in love with a fencer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, actually, I'm in love with an unemployed fencer.
Whoa. Don't employment shame me. I'm retired, Hoss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
I'm glad I finally get to be your sugar mama. It's what I've dreamed of this whole time.
That's what I've been dreaming of. And look, here's the thing. I may come out of retirement, but at the moment, through Monday morning at 12 a.m., I'm retired.
Well, all I can say is if this is the state of our home after retirement, then we can't do this because any clutter, it gives me anxiety.
No, well, look, come on. Look, you're making it out like our house is not bad.
Pick up your shit.
Okay, I'm going to take some pictures and we're going to put it somewhere where the listeners can see. I want you to see that our house is in order right now. It's basically in order. And you know what? I'm like those football players. They retire for a year and then, people's like, hey, you're so great. You got to come back. We need you so much. The team can't do this without you. And I'll just come back and sign like a new contract with another organization.
Well, a Phoenix man known as the Zombie Hunter
was
sentenced to death Wednesday for the murders of 2 women who were attacked while biking along a canal in the 1990s.
Oh, my God. Has he got any connection to Lori Vallow?
Well, let's find out, Dylan. Brian Patrick Miller was found guilty by a judge in April of 2 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, attempted sexual assault in the brutal stabbing attacks of 2 women, 21-year-old Angela Brosso in 1992 and 17-year-old Melanie Burness in 1993. The judge in this case stated that the defendant did not just murder them, he brutalized them, and then he evaded capture for over 20 years.
What the hell?
Angela Brasso was attacked on November 8, 1992, while walking along a Phoenix canal. I guess she had a bike with her as well. Her decapitated remains were found in a field the following day. It would have been her 22nd birthday. And then her head was discovered in the Arizona Canal more than a week later.
My God.
How freaking terrible is that?
That's horrible. Right before her 22nd birthday.
Less than a year later, on September 21st of 1993, high school junior Melanie Burness was mutilated and her body discovered in the Arizona Canal about 1.5 miles away from where Brasso was found. She had been sexually assaulted and the killer had carved a cross in her chest.
That's not weird at all.
The cases remained cold until 2015 when DNA linked Miller, who happened to be a single dad and an Amazon employee. I had to throw that in there because, see, Jeff Bezos is the devil.
Well, it's true. And the culture there at Amazon produces killers. It's well known, actually.
Now, in March of 2022, Miller waived his right to a jury trial, and he pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, but he was found guilty in April of this year.
Why did they call him the zombie killer? Because did he think they were zombies and he killed them?
Well, possibly.
With the decapitation?
Well, it makes me think that maybe that was his whole shtick because he carved this
cross
in these. I mean, I don't have all those details. All I know is it's a pretty fucked up death, and these women did not deserve this.
No, he brutalized their bodies, their remains. No, everything he did was horrible. And he should have killed himself first.
You think so?
Yeah. Anytime someone's wondering if they should kill other people and then kill themselves, they should start with themselves. I think.
You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
Yes.
Okay, Dylan.
And if you're ever struggling with killing people and dismembering their bodies and all that, then you should reach out for help. I'll leave my personal number in the show notes, and I will tell you to go ahead and kill your fucking self. Leave those people alone. All right. Moving on.
Okay, Dylan. Just as summer travel is ramping up, and we have folks out there who might be planning some vacations, the State Department has issued a travel advisory for the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Violent crime,
okay.
Armed robbery, homicide, sexual assault is on the rise and a growing concern throughout the Dominican Republic. They have issued a yellow flag, which is a level 2 advisory, urging travelers headed to this top Caribbean hotspot to exercise increased caution.
I'm going to exercise caution by not going there.
Well, Americans who are traveling to the area have been told they should consider staying in the resorts, that they are likely to be safer there, and that if they're going out, like off campus from these resort areas,
Okay.
that they need to stay in urban areas like Santo Domingo.
Okay. Well, I think that's all good advice, right? I mean, you know, some people think these resorts, they just create this barrier between the locals and the tourists, and then all the monies are funneled back into some corporate conglomerate that doesn't, you know, bleed out to the locals like you would think it would organically. But Heather has pointed out that she thinks maybe they're built that way because they're greedy as fuck. As far as the setup is, it's basically like a compound style. She's like, maybe it's built that way for fucking a reason, bud. Like, you might be safer if you just hang out in the resort. So I don't know the answers to those things.
Well, no, I mean, because we've discussed this, and when you're traveling, obviously, I mean, for people like us, not everybody wants to go out and about, but we would want to get out and explore and experience like the culture and see history and sort of become integrated into the local area, right?
Right.
Like, we don't want to just stay at a resort and be like, oh, cool,
Eat
we
the
sat at a
buffet.
pool all day,
Right.
right? I mean, we would want to go see the beautiful architecture and see the locals and meet people and buy locally made goods and that kind of thing. So yeah, we would want to do that, but also maybe it's designed to keep you safe because you just never know when you go to a resort area. I mean, and we can't live our lives in fear, but at the same time,
No.
some of these areas, especially when you're talking about like some of the spots in Mexico that have become increasingly more violent over the past few years, I'm not even sure I would really want to leave the resort area.
Well,
'Cause
no.
you just never know.
And at the very least, short of violent crime or something happening to you, you're probably have a high likelihood of being scammed, because there are people that do this. They do it in America. You know, they do it in American cities that are, you know, full of tourists. You know, in New Orleans, you know, people's just waiting for your goofy ass to get out, staring all around like you've never seen a building before,
So they can steal your purse.
so
or
they can
pickpocket
scam you,
or
trick you, or
make you give them money for
Right.
some asinine reason.
yeah.
Like, I can guess your shoe size or whatever.
Or they take the
yeah.
picture and you're like, oh, okay, and then
They
they're
give
like,
you some
demand
stank-ass
$10.
sticky beads they found in a ditch.
Stank ass sticky beads.
Yeah, and then they're like,
Oh, no.
here, that'll be $10.
Yeah, they throw them to you and they like stick to your shirt. You're like, what the fuck?
Yes.
These.
Well, one of
these
the
smell.
issues that has been reported to the State Department in the Dominican is U.S. citizens being robbed by people they meet on dating apps.
Hmm.
That is one of the bigger scams.
Yes, that would not get me.
I probably wouldn't go on a dating app if I was on
Would-
vacation.
no.
I mean, I know a lot of folks, I guess, want to go hook up or whatever, but that's not for
Hey,
me.
I'm not doing any of that, bud. Because you're really opening yourself up. You're making yourself vulnerable. I don't want to be vulnerable in my own town, let alone in a place I have no idea what's happening. And I think we have to remember that half of the island is Haiti, which has been impoverished for a very long time. The other half is the Dominican Republic, in a little bit better shape than Haiti. But we also have to look at the bigger picture. How often has this country, both sides, been exploited by the powers that be worldwide? Look at the billions, literal billions raised. You know, after they had that horrible, or was it earthquake, right? And it's been proven a lot of that money didn't make it to the ground. It didn't make it to the people. People still living in probably tents to this fucking day after years and years later. So, you know, then they're impoverished and they're like shit on and they're exploited and they turn around and do it to the tourists. So who really is the criminal here?
I think we've
Damn, son.
seen, Dylan,
What?
that
Fuck.
impoverished people who are desperate
Mm-hmm.
often become criminals
Out of necessity.
out of
It's true.
necessity. And it's really
It's true.
sad. And if everybody was given equal footing,
Mm-hmm.
the basic things covered, housing, food, medical care,
Right.
you know, we might not have some of these issues in the world.
It's true.
But
It's
as long
true.
as we have greedy fuckers in office, this is going to continue.
That's how we were talking about the other day, the like image of the We were talking about how buffets have kind of went the way of the dinosaurs, like Ryan's.
Right.
Just because, the generations change from one generation to the next of what they like. And I'm kind of okay with that because it really, if you think about it, you got this big smorgasbord of all this food. I mean, just a ridiculous amount of food.
That's never good.
It's full of preservatives, high in sodium and all that. And it's real middle of the road typically. But people are there for it. They're paying their little $13-$14. And they're literally going to eat all they physically can before they leave. So they're just blah, 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 stuffing their fat fucking American faces.
All I can think is that really nasty mac and cheese.
Yeah, I was thinking of the mac and cheese too.
And it's like soupy almost.
It's like the 4 or 5 plates, and like you can't even hardly get out of drag yourself out there. You and all you other fat face fucking American family, and I'm fat face, so I get to say that. And you're just gross. It's gross, right?
It's like pigs eating slop.
And then at the end of the night, they turn around and throw out just, pounds and pounds, tons a year of fucking food straight around into the trash when you have other people in other countries who would have...
You have people in the United States.
In the United
down
States.
the street from the
What's
restaurant
true?
that could be benefiting from that
people
food.
all around would love to have one plate of that fucking buffet food. Would love it because they'd have a hot meal in their belly. It's just what is wrong with us? I think sometimes, just the very concept of an all-you-can-eat buffet for an extra low price is really disgusting if you think about it, considering what other people deal with. Yeah, damn, boy. Shit.
Vote Dylan Packer.
Hey, I'm bringing it. I mean, like, who is the real criminal here? That was good. That needs to go down like in my memoirs.
Now, this is kind of a wild story, Dylan, that I thought I should bring up. You know the actor Adam Devine? We love him on The Righteous Gemstones.
Okay, is he the short guy?
He's the young brother.
So from Workaholics?
Yes.
Oh, that dude's hilarious.
Modern Family, Workaholics.
The wrong
Pitch
Mike
Perfect.
and Dave need wedding dates.
Yeah, he was
fucking
in the
hilarious.
Pitch Perfect movie series. He's revealed that he and his wife, who is also an actress, Chloe Bridges, were sitting on their porch watching a party across the street when gunfire erupted. And a man was shot and killed in the driveway of this Hollywood Hills home Wednesday morning.
Damn.
So he went on a podcast called This Is Important. It's an improv podcast. And he was talking about sitting on the balcony, like watching this party unfold. And he and his wife are kind of like, oh, this looks like a crazy party. And out of nowhere, someone gets murdered.
Damn, right in front of him. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. The victim of the shooting was 39-year-old Emil Lahaziel. And he was believed to be standing in front of this driveway of the home, which is located at the 7800 block of Farrellholm Drive. Not that I know where that is because I don't live in the Hollywood Hills. This argument broke out and gunfire erupted. So Kimberly Block, who lives next door, said the tenant renting the home has a large social media following and may have been hosting a high-end poker game when the situation turned deadly. From what I've read, other neighbors have said the tenant of this specific home hosts these high-end poker games and that you can often see like Ferraris, Lamborghinis pulling up. They have valet parking. I mean, it's kind of
so there's
like
a lot of money. This isn't your average poker game.
Yeah. So it seems like this is some sort of
Argument.
high-end illegal type of poker game happening.
So it sounds
Possibly.
like tensions flared, some over money, over cheating, over something, possibly, and ended in a gun being fired and someone being killed.
Yeah.
Now, did they get the perpetrator? Did you say that?
I believe they have made an arrest.
Okay, good. Well, that's crazy. Could you imagine just chilling on your balcony like, oh, these people's getting crazy over here. Look at them. Kind of laughing at it, and then all of a sudden it gets real serious like that.
No.
Boom.
That's a little scary.
Now you got to give your witness statement to the police. So now you got to fucking hide your bag of Eddies and act like you're sober when the cops come to talk to you.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. What?
Calm down.
I'm just saying. That's what I would be doing if I was on a balcony in the Hollywood Hills.
One more story, Dylan, and we're bringing it local. Got a local story.
You gonna tell me about it? Better not be about my cousin Jim.
No, it's about a man in Jackson County, North Carolina. Whittier, to be exact. Which
What?
Here in western North Carolina, Whittier is very closely located to the Cherokee Reservation
Yeah.
and the casino.
Very.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
a
it's
lot of
about
folks
10 minutes away.
kind of know that area through Harris Casino and all that. So this Jackson County man is facing some felony charges after using social media to make inappropriate contact with a child, despite being a registered sex offender.
Okay.
So this 2-month-long investigation, which was a joint operation between the Department of Homeland Security and Jackson County Sheriff's Office, has finally yielded an arrest. They were able to search the home of Bobby Joe Connor on June 1st. Connor, who is 54 years old and lives in the Bumgarner Cemetery Road area, was arrested for 1 felony count of solicitation of a child by computer or other electronic means, and then 3 felony counts of failure to register as a sex offender. So back on April 7th, he allegedly solicited someone he thought was a child online, but it turned out it was an undercover agent, and he communicated with this child using the Discord app.
Oh, shit.
And then asked to meet the child in real life. And if you're unfamiliar with Discord, it is one of the benefits of joining our social media, our Patreon. It is a social media platform where users can share like videos and text.
But it's like private.
Text chat. Yeah.
You have to be invited,
Yeah, it's
typically.
like private groups and
Private
that kind of
threads,
thing.
yeah.
There's also a paid division for live streaming. So you can have these chat groups that have like maybe 2 people up to thousands of people.
Right.
And as you mentioned, these groups are created by like a private server, and then users have to be connected, either directly like contacted to invite, and join the server, or their friends can like invite them to join it.
Right. So this is where some asshole like this would be comfortable soliciting a child because they think they're in a private thread.
Well, the other part of that, Dylan, is that users are not required to provide a verified identity according to Discord.
It's true.
But they can trace the user's location. So they don't ask you for anybody's real name when you sign up, but they are able to track those verified email addresses and the IP addresses.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So he contacted this child online, or what he thought was a child. And then 2 of his failure to register charges arose from the fact that he did not register the 2 social media handles with the sheriff's office.
Oh.
So I guess part of state law is you have to register
If you're going online.
Going online. One of the screen names he used was MountainMan54 on Snapchat, and the handle bcom.bindtransport1 on Instagram.
That's not weird at all.
No. When I saw the bind transport, I was like, what is this guy, BTK?
Mountain Man 54.
He's being held under a $300,000 secured bond.
We ought to smack the
which
shit out of
is
him.
good. Creepers, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, Dylan. Thank you for joining me to lay down a midweek. I know we were a little late to the game, but thank you.
Don't solicit children online, people. What the
participation.
hell? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking creep.
I stop because you know what? That will get you around here in the Mountain Murder Studio. That'll get you put down like a dog in the street.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dylan Justice.
All right. I'm going to get off here and fold clothes, apparently.
Yeah. That sounds like something you need to do. Thanks
Fuck
for joining me,
that.
Dylan. We have an interesting case this weekend that we will be presenting to our listeners. It is a serial killer, and one that you've probably never heard of.
Ooh,
Yeah, we got one of
God.
those. It's a big case.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And we're so glad to be back. We miss you, Owenses.
Also, we just dropped one of our May Movie Club episodes covering the serial killer Capital Baton Rouge, which was a docuseries on Peacock. We will be kind of reviewing that docuseries and discussing the details at patreon.com/mountainmurderspodcast.
Yes, if you want to support us in our time of dire straits, you can slide on over to patreon.com//Mountain Murderers Podcast and sign up for as little as $3. And it's not just for us, it's for you because you get all kinds of extra content and the ad-free experience on every episode. Plus, you can get in our Discord.
Yeah. Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, Heather.
Bye.
Bye.